pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Present.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Here.
Vice Mayor Morissette.
Here.
Mayor Mohammed. We have quorum.
Oh, you go.
Are there any, well, there's nothing to delete, but hey, you can act like there's something to delete. Is there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda? Wait, sorry about that. Are there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda? Nope. Okay. So then I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morissette. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any comments from the public? No? Okay, just checking. There are no presentations, no old business, new business, town manager resignation, and appointment of the interim town manager. So everyone has received a copy of the letter from the town manager, letting us know that he has submitted his resignation to be effective, what day?
Effective September 30th.
September 1st, okay. And are there any questions or anything for the town manager?
I have a lot.
Okay. Do you want to have the discussion first, or do you want to go ahead and accept the resignation first?
Discussion first.
Okay.
So I have no issues with the town manager leaving as soon as the following conditions are met. That you meet with every department head and update them on the statuses of their department. Leaving your email active, because everything in the town currently goes into your inbox. There are several items that the commission and the town needs updated on. So prior to you coming here, there were 8 outstanding grants. The 2 years I was mayor and the time I was commissioner sitting here, I brought those up almost every single meeting. Where are we standing on those 8 grants?
Actually, Aleem, do we have an update on those grants? And they're not 8, so there aren't 8 of them. Which ones are the ones that are currently?
These are all of them. I believe the total of everything that we have.
Okay, but not all these are active, so.
Yeah, so that's the running list that I got.
Okay.
So most of these were the HMGP and I think these are the ones that,
The
the
HMGP.
surtax and the HMGPs.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you for a second. Do you have the list of the 8 grants that you updated?
Nope, I just want all 8 grants updated.
Well, he has a list of more than 8, so do you want the full list, or do you just want the 8?
Oh, you know what? I will provide this to you guys tomorrow. Aleem updated it, and I'll send it out to you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. What's your second item?
Where are we at on the forensic audit, the town's finances?
That would have to come up at the next meeting for approval, for the proposal to get approved.
Is there companies pending? We haven't heard anything.
We have a proposal, and it's got to go to the commission.
Okay. I noticed the pole that BSO ran into in the park has finally been repaired. Has BSO reimbursed the city for its costs?
At this point, I'm not sure if we've been reimbursed by the insurance company yet, but I will follow up and make sure.
The roof's taken 2 years to be replaced. Where are we at on that?
Actually, at the last meeting, the contract was awarded, and they will be starting construction once permits are issued.
It's taken 2 years for a roof. We could have built a new town hall in that time frame. Where are we at on hiring of a new police chief?
Well, the ad has been, we received all the applications, and now it's a matter of setting up what the commission wants to do as far as how they want to handle interviews.
Why did the town not pay the former police chief his 6 months of FRS?
we paid everything that we have, and you have an update on that?
You might just need to take his. That thing is weird.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Babette Friedman, HR Director. In regards to Commissioner Jacobs' request regarding Chief Howard, we paid everything that we were supposed to, and there's no pending costs.
Okay, so he wasn't paid his initial first 6 months of FRS. It wasn't put into.
Right, per FRS's guidelines, since he is a certified police law enforcement officer, we were not allowed to put him into regular, and since our police department wasn't created, we weren't able to put anything into FRS till July 1st when the FRS police plan was implemented.
Town attorney, were you given notice of suit on that?
I believe we did receive a claim letter, yes.
Okay. To date, because I spoke with the chief about an hour ago, he hasn't been paid out his entitled earnings per his contract to date.
His earnings, like,
What you got to pay out on his contract?
that's right, because per his contract, he has to sign a waiver, and he hasn't done that yet. A general release.
So there's a waiver outstanding?
A general release that he has to sign.
All right. The commission voted to be on hiatus for July and August. When did the commission vote to hold a regular commission meeting on July 12th?
That was a special meeting. That wasn't a regular meeting. It was just happened to fall on that day.
It wasn't listed as a special, it was listed as a regular commission meeting. It was posted as a regular commission meeting.
Go ahead.
It was posted as a regular commission meeting because that's the date it falls on. When meetings are held at a different time and date than what we have in our ordinance, it is considered a special. But in that particular case, because it fell on that exact day, it would be still considered a regular meeting.
The commission voted to be on hiatus during that time. So, as what I recall, you can only have specials or emergency meetings after that vote was in place. But it looks like the town held a regular commission meeting on July 12th. Flooding continues to get worse. It's all the way up to my crotch over there now. It continues to flood Carolina, Park Road, Park Lane. It continues to get worse with every single storm that keeps coming through. This has been an ongoing problem for a very long time. Given excuse after excuse after excuse that we're waiting for funding, we have money to fix this problem. We have money to clean out the storm drains. They're not being cleaned out. Going out and like scraping off the leaves on the top of the drain isn't fixing the problem. We have businesses that are actually going underwater. We have stormwater flowing through the doors. I know y'all stalked me online, so you've seen the videos. I forwarded a particular video to the town manager and the public works director, which I get no response from the public works director on anything that I do, of a very upset business owner and where he's at. That we have multiple businesses ready to sue the town because they're losing out. They're filing insurance claim after insurance claim because the commission here and the public works department is doing nothing to fix these problems. It is progressively getting worse. So again, that's Carolina, Park Road, Park Lane, and Lakeshore Mobile Home Community.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for 1 second on that item since you brought it up. Currently, our public service director is working on alleviating the problem. He did, and were you here at the last meeting to vote on the contract to clean out those drains? So since he's been here, he has been addressing our flooding issues, our lift stations and everything like that. He has been in the process of doing that since he's been here. He's been here every weekend dealing with these issues. They just cleaned out the drains. He just actually got the quote to do the work, which actually we could go ahead and bring it up right now because it's over the $5,000 threshold. And the quote that he have, I think, is for $6,800.
That's correct.
So if you do want to actually, I don't know if we could vote on that because he doesn't have the authority.
It's not on the agenda.
So, okay. So what I do need then is I need some clarification because when Todd was here. Todd had the authority to spend up to $10,000.
And I have, the commission changed that, so I can approve that, and I will
Okay,
approve that
so-
prior.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we would
I'll get that
like to
taken
give
care of.
direction. Is that okay? I can give direction? Okay, so then what I'd like to do is give the manager direction to work with Aleem to go ahead and get the suck out. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but
The
in
back-
my
back
layman's
truck.
terms, to suck out all the crap out the drain lines.
Well, as this isn't a dictatorship and it is a commission form of government where there's 5 equal commissioners of 5 equal power, the direction would have to come from the commission as a whole, not from one individual commissioner.
Does anyone have a problem with giving Mr. Gady the direction to go ahead?
Nope.
Sure.
I definitely don't have a problem. I mean, we're
don't
trying to
have a
address
problem with
I don't have a problem either, but
Good.
we are, again, a commission form of government, and the direction needs to come from the commission, not one sole individual commissioner.
Well, he's working on the issue, and the manager has the authority to actually do it, so
And they
we're
actually
just
pulled-
kind of more so just putting it on the record and trying to move it forward.
Okay, well then, I got something we can discuss with that as well. Since the hiring of the Public Works Director, he took the time to come up and introduce himself to every single commissioner but myself. I was here that evening. I was here for an extra 30 minutes that evening. You didn't even take the time to introduce yourself. Professionally, that's strike one with me, okay? Second of all, you've refused to return my calls and emails. You don't respond to anything. I don't know what the deal is with the commission, but there's 5 commissioners here of 5 equal power, and you report to all of us. That's the way it works. And you have not, since you've been here, even communicated with me. I'm the only one with the knowledge of what's really gone on here. I've been forthright in everything that I've said and not been dishonest. Now, pack of lies have been fed to a lot of people around here about my integrity, bullying, harassing, you name it, that's not happened, okay? I've been tied to every single grant, every single project, every single bit of this community. I go walk door to door. I know the business owners. I know the residents. I'm the one who has the knowledge of what's going on in the park to put it together. The one who worked on these grants to figure out where we're at with our grant writer. I'm the one who worked with the town manager. I went to Tallahassee. I met the emergency management people up there because I held a sign on the Capitol steps trying to get assistance for my town. Things I've done have worked, but no communication, that's an epic failure on behalf. So I will consider that strike 2.
Okay, well, I think that what we need to do is go ahead and get you scheduled with a meeting with him, and, which is not on the agenda for discussion right now. It's more so
No,
about what
but
you
you
need
brought
to.
it up, so we.
Well, no, we brought up the flooding on Park Road. You wanted an update from the city manager, which is what we were giving you, was the update on where we were with trying to get it cleaned out. We awarded the contract last month. You weren't, the last meeting, you weren't here at the last meeting, so you might not be aware of the fact that the contract was
We
awarded.
actually voted to be on a hiatus and not hold a
Well,
regular.
we did vote. Unfortunately, specials happen, things happen, and we have to deal with them. Things are always moving. It's fluid. Just because we're on vacation doesn't mean that the 6,000 residents leave the city and we're not responsive to them. So
And
yes, while
it was a
the
regular
manager-
commission meeting.
Well, it was a special, there was no workshop to deal with it, but these items came up and we had to address it right then and there, which was why it was done that way and as soon as possible to expedite what needed to be done. And there were a lot of things that Eileen needed to get done and moving so that he could be functioning for this summer, especially with hurricane season and the rain and the drainage, and which is why we have these contracts that are out there right now to deal with the flooding. And so right now, we're just trying to move it along.
All right, so
So that
JC
it can
put in
happen.
his notice.
Yes,
Has anyone put a plan together?
we have a
Do we have
presentation.
a search committee put together?
We,
It's in the best interest of the town for an outside interim manager to come in due to the toxicity and the issues within the town of Pembroke Park. I think it's critical we bring someone in from the outside as an interim town manager.
okay, so would you like to accept his resignation now, and then we can go ahead with the presentation from the Florida City Managers Association to help us by bringing in an interim? Because that was next to be discussed after we accepted his resignation.
I don't see a presentation on the agenda.
Well, appointment of interim town manager. It's going to be, I had the city
Okay.
attorney discuss.
Make a motion
Yeah.
to accept the resignation of the current town manager, J.C. Jimenez. with the resignation date being
September 1st.
September 1st.
September 1st.
I second.
Okay. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Morset,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going
Oh,
to
let me just state
Okay.
for the record that Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem is absent.
excused.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Okay. So with that being said, when I received the call from JC, I reached out to the attorney to ask him to contact the Florida how do you say it? FCCM. The alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Florida City County Managers Association.
Yes, to try to, I don't know if you recall when Well did her presentation, Commissioner Jacobs.
I do.
That they have the members in transit, or rangers is what they're called.
Yep.
And so I asked him to reach out to see if they could assist us in either getting us a member in transit to be our interim, so that we could get some outside folks and get some additional bodies in here, because we have a lot of work to do to get some stuff moving. So
Yeah.
yes, I'll let you go ahead and take the floor.
And just very briefly, Mayor, thank you. And after the town manager did provide his resignation letter, you and I did have a conversation. We reached out to a gentleman named Ken Parker, who's with the FCCMA. He oversees what they call their Members in Transition program. And if either our clerk or deputy clerk can get Mr. Parker on the line, he is standing by. What the FCCMA provides, and again, Ken can speak more to their program, is they offer interim city manager, town manager services to municipalities that meet certain qualifications. In recent years, the population requirement for their program was reduced to 10,000 people. So we would fall within the parameters of what the FCCMA offers. There's a lot of things they do in the context of providing interim services. There are also a number of things that they don't do when it comes to facilitating a search for a successor manager. Again, Mr. Parker could speak to the issue a little more as to the nature of his program, but we did have a conversation. It is a resource that the FCCMA provides to municipalities, particularly smaller municipalities. And again, the mayor indicated it could be an option for the town in this particular circumstance. And again, Mr. Parker is on the line this evening to offer his preliminary comments and explain a little more about the FCCMA program.
I'm going to have him on now. Sir, go ahead and speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Ken Parker. I am a Florida City County Management Association senior advisor. Matter of fact, I coordinate all of the senior advisors in the state of Florida. There are 9 of us, and let me kind of explain who we are first. One, we're not consultants. Okay, senior advisors are retired city county managers, and we all have extensive experience. Okay, we're appointed jointly by the Florida City County Management Association and ICMA, which is the International City County Management Association. Our primary roles are to provide career counseling to FCCMA and ICMA members. We provide guidance on ethics questions to our members. And then on form of government, we do some presentations on form of government. And on a very limited basis, we help cities in the recruitment of city administrators, city managers. I think tonight you've asked me to come and talk by telephone to talk a little bit about that process that FCCMA uses, and also give you some of the options that are available. Is that correct?
Yes.
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 Okay, I just wanted to be sure that we're on the same page. Okay. If you were looking at kind of, the universe that are out there, the first one I'd like to talk a little bit about is employing a full service firm to assist you in handling the recruitment. The advantages of a full service firm is that they usually know who is looking for positions. They usually know, where to look and things of that sort. They do not wait for people to call them or apply for the position. They actually initiate a number of calls. Yes, they advertise in the traditional places that that FCCMA senior advisors would do it, but they also, go way beyond that. That's their job. They get paid for that. Senior advisors do not get paid. Okay, we work basically on our availability. Our costs are what I call our expenses. In the case of what I would see is mileage, we have 2 senior advisors that live in St. Lucie County, and if either of those are available, those would be the ones that would assist in a selections or recruitment process. If they're not available, then I am the next closest, and I live up in Volusia County. So our normal expenses are mileage, and we get mileage by IRS rate, but we can also do a lot of our work electronically, such as we're doing tonight. We use Zoom calls, Skype calls, GoToMeeting, any of those platforms, to conduct our business with the city. But the full service firm does a lot of other things. They do the recruitment, they do the verification of employment, they do all of the background work. Okay, if you're using a senior advisor, then the background work is always done by the city. What the senior advisors do is that we review resumes, we prepare lists based upon the criteria that the city has established, and usually it's the job description, it's usually what your charter provides or by ordinance, and it's usually what we call the ideal candidate profile. Okay, the ideal candidate profile is done through a series of interviews we do with the governing body. Each member of the governing body is asked to complete a questionnaire, and then we compile what is called the ideal candidate profile. And then we come back to the commission and say, is this really what you have told us that you want in your next city manager, city administrator? The full service firms do something very similar to that. So the first option is full service firm. Normally, depending upon the scope of services and things of that sort, we've heard the range is somewhere in the $25,000, $30,000 range, but I can't tell you that is the exact price because it does vary. Fortunately for Florida cities, there are at least 4 firms that have people that work on these types of placement that live in the state of Florida. Now, that's not the universe. That is what I know about currently in Florida. There's at least 4 of them that have people that's what they do, that live in Florida. They're Florida-based. The second option is senior advisors. Okay, there are 2 criteria. One is population, and your city meets the population because it's a city under 10,000. Secondly, it's availability of a senior advisor. All of us are retired. All of us have other obligations and other things that we're involved in, and so it would be based upon whether there is a senior advisor available. As I've said before, there are 2 that live in St. Lucie County, and I have not talked with them about their availability. So I can't commit them to being the ones, if you want us to help you with this, that we'd be there. Secondly, we do not do any background work or anything else. Third, contrasting. Senior advisors, you do all the advertisements, you place all the ads, all of that. All of the resumes would come to you. If you were using an executive search firm, they're responsible for placing all the ads. They're responsible for receiving all of the resumes. And then they will do pre-screening, and a lot of the firms, they actually do pre-interviewing to make sure when they prepare a list for you that the individuals do meet your criteria or as close to your criteria as possible. Senior advisors only do resume review. We only accept what they place on their resume. We do not verify any of their data. We do not provide you a specific recommendation on any candidate. Senior advisors normally, you will find us placing the candidates in 3 categories. Category number 1 is qualified and recommended. And those are the ones who meet on paper as close to your criteria that you've established as possible. Criteria number 2, the second list is qualified. These candidates meet many of your qualifications, but maybe not be the best fit for your community based upon what they have submitted to us. The third is not recommended. We're not saying they're not qualified. We're saying that they meet some of your criteria, but they do not meet as much of the criteria as the other 2 categories. So ours are based upon those types of criteria. You receive all of the resumes, and your staff would then forward resumes to us, and then we would begin our process. Normally, I use 3 senior advisors, myself and 2 others, if I'm doing the work, to review all resumes. And what we would do is conduct a public meeting, and we review all of the resumes during that public meeting. And then we compile the list, which then would be submitted to you. The third option that you do have available is that you could do it yourself. You could do the advertisements. You could prepare all of the material. Now, we would be glad to provide you examples. We would be glad to provide you where to advertise. We would be glad to provide you all of the other, any materials that we have. In fact, I would be glad to, if you want to handle it yourself, I'd be glad to review your ads. I'd be glad to review any of your material and provide you my comments based upon that particular document. So option number 1, a full service firm. They provide you the full service. They do the ads. They do all of the material that you need to put it out there in front of the general public. They receive all the resumes. They do all your background work. And when they provide you with a list, all the work is done. And then it's up to you to do the interviewing and then decide which candidate you believe is the one that fits your criteria best. Correct? Option number 2 is senior advisors, and I've done that. I've described that. Option 3 is you handle it yourself, and we would, provide you with, some advice, some examples, and all of those types of things. But, we would not be involved in any of the actual advertisements or things of that sort. I've worked with some cities. That's what they wanted to do. And we were glad to help them and provide them with all that information. Option number 4 is if you have a candidate that is internal to your own organization, that you believe that they already meet the criteria that you would like, in your next manager administrator. In some cities, they have an individual that is like that. Potentially, and what a lot of times they will do is they will appoint that individual as an interim or an acting manager. That gives that person an opportunity to determine, 1, if they really want to do that job, and number 2, whether or not, and the governing body gets an opportunity to determine whether or not that person really is a good fit. And it's one of those types of things that I tell people they get an opportunity to test drive. Both groups get a chance to see if this is really what that would work within the organization. Because it's very important that chemistry between the governing body and the manager administrator is so important. And so those are sort of your 4 major alternatives as we, as senior advisors, as we go out and we talk to cities, say, here are your options, here are the things that you can do, and and then we can provide you with some assistance. For example, if you decide that you would like to use the search firm, we can provide you with a template for advertising in order to receive RFPs from requests for their proposals from those firms, and we can provide you with that information. We can provide you with a listing of all the firms that we know that are in that particular business. And we can do that. I could have those things to you tomorrow. From that point of view, I think that lays out the options. Normally, what I find is that this is about a 4 to 5 month process. Okay, so, if you're going outside your own organization. Okay, so kind of get that in your mind that we really are talking about, if you started tomorrow, probably you're talking about something around the first of the year before you could have a person selected. Now, let me also tell you that what I find is that if the person is employed, most of the managers today have provisions in their agreement that they have to give notice to their employer. Normally, that is a 60-day notice period. I have seen some that is up to 90 days, but 60 days is more common. Some cities will release their manager from that 60-day period. Most will not, because most say it takes that 60 days in order to transition from where they are right now, once the manager gives notice, until they're leaving. And so most cities say that 60 days is our protection to be sure that we're able to transition and for us to move forward in our search process to replace our manager administrator. Normally, we make this presentation in person, and normally I provide a written memorandum that kind of you can go through and you can follow this, and I'll be glad to provide you with with that written memoranda so that you can, study it yourself and kind of lays it all out in a pretty good format. Let me cover one item that I think is extremely important, and that's when you do background. Okay. And I know the major national firms, they go in depth in background. This is more than credit check. This is more than criminal background check. This is more than sexual predator check. This is more than, going through to see if your credit reports and see if you've got any, cases pending out there in a court system. Most of the firms will verify employment. When I talk about verify employment, they may actually send someone in to that city, to the cities where these individuals have worked or are currently working, and they look at personnel files, they look at all of those items. They do more than just reference checks. Okay, it is very detailed. From our recommendation to any governing body is to go to the highest level of background check. If you're thinking about something very similar to what people do for law enforcement at that level, you really want to go in and look in depth so that you're not surprised by anything that shows up in the background, that you understand that you've got a good information. Most of the firms do look at social media and things of that sort. They don't want to be surprised either because their professional reputation is on the line. And we are prohibited from doing any of that background work. So I don't want to go, kind of give you the illusion that you're getting a full service if you use senior advisors. Normally, a background of very much detail, I've seen some cities pay as much as $2,500 per candidate. So those are your final groupings, your final candidates. And so that if you're selecting 5 that's over $12,000 right there. And so that's why we say when you start pricing out something, you need to kind of be sure you understand what's in the proposal and so I don't want you to be surprised if you ask us to come in and assist and we come back and say, okay, now you've got to do your background work. And then all of a sudden you get the proposal from a firm or whomever you're using, and it's going to cost this amount of money. And you would say, somebody didn't tell us that. So we want full disclosure up on the front end that, whatever background work, you would have to do it, you would have to contract for it, or you would have to find someone to do it. So from that perspective, that's sort of an overview of what of your options and of what kind of the differences in each one. They're each slightly different, and I just kind of wanted to briefly go through that. Now, are there questions that I can answer for you? And I may need your clerk to repeat the question because I may not be able to hear you.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of questions. Oh, sorry. I'm sure there are plenty of questions, so I'm going to start on the far end.
Can you send a copy of, or just a copy of your proposal, your 3 areas that you're talking about? Email one over to the town.
Sir, did
Okay,
you?
I didn't quite hear that, but go ahead.
He said that if you could please email to the town your proposals.
Okay, we're not making a proposal.
Not a
What we're
proposal.
saying, these are your options.
Your presentation
Glad
for
to provide
options.
that memorandum to the town.
Options.
Yes, I'll be glad to do that.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I think once we see that, then we can go forward. I think we need to think about that and look at it closely.
Is there a time frame that we would be able to have you or the 2 folks from Port St. Lucie covering us while we go through the process of searching? Is there like, hey, you have to get this done within 6 months, but if it takes a little longer, would you guys be willing to provide us with a member in transit during that time if it goes more than January 1st?
Sorry, that was way too long.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Ken, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm still here. I couldn't hear what's being said, but
Okay, so here's my question is, so say the process goes past January 1st, it takes longer than 6 months. Would you still be able to provide either yourself or those 2 members from Port St. Lucie?
yes. Okay, we can provide information. Some cities ask us to help them with their interims, and we do have individuals that want to do interim work, and we can provide you with their names, and we can let them know also.
Okay, so because see, I feel like I'm getting my terms mixed up with the members in transit versus the rangers. I know at some point there was a program where you guys would send someone in to kind of, cover the day-to-day while we went through the process.
Okay, here's what we do. Okay, we send you a note saying here are some individuals that would do that type of work, and then basically you would interview and select. They would submit your resumes, and we would help you through that process. But we no longer see what used to be called range riders. We are now senior advisors, and Florida changed its policy a number of years ago and said senior advisors, the old range riders, cannot do interim work. We can suggest, and here are some people that can do it, but and then you interview them and determine which one of that group you want to be your interim.
Okay. How long would the process take to get that list? So those are the members in transit now, correct?
Well, some of them are members in transition, and there's some that are out there that are retired managers that do interim
Short-term.
city managers type of work.
Okay. How long would it take for us to get that list of available senior members in transit?
Tomorrow
Interim.
morning.
Okay.
Please send it to all commissioners.
Yeah, yes. Could you please send that to all commissioners?
Mayor, if you'd like to
Yes.
come forward it to me, I can circulate it to everybody.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, Ken, if you could circulate that to the attorney, he would get that circulated to all of us first thing in the morning. Okay.
Right, and what he would need to tell me is, okay, yeah, I want you to notify all these people, and then be glad to send out notice to each one of those and to others that I may be familiar with that are doing interim work, and see if they're available.
Okay. Okay. You have another question? I feel like you have a follow-up.
I do, but
Here.
it will be answered. No, it's fine. It's more or less answered. So, we just need an interim to fill in the time. This is my third town manager I've been through. You've been through multiple, so you know the process. I think it's critical that we have someone in a timely manner when he's there or he leaves us. So,
Ken, is there an updated, do you remember that book we got from OL? The city manager selection?
yeah, I got a copy.
Do you have
of
an
it.
updated version of that?
We're actually working on updating it right now, but I can try to get the old copy to you, but because
Or if you have it,
I have a
we're
just-
copy.
just not quite there yet. But yes, we do have one, but it's out of date.
It is outdated.
Okay. If you could send over the old copy, if not, then I can get.
I don't have a
Commissioner-
digitized.
You don't have a digitized?
Actual printed copy.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everyone has a copy of that manual, which basically explains the process, questions to ask, things to look for, and things like that. What else am I forgetting?
Right. And I'll send all of the information that we have, kind of the questions. I'll send, all of the material that I've got, plus I'll get a copy of that old manual. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
No.
Nope. No? Anybody? Nope. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Listen, I just want to make sure we covered everyone in the room because you're not here, so you can't see. I'm literally passing the phone around. Okay, so I thank you very much, Ken, and we appreciate you taking the time out this evening to talk with us, and we look forward to your emails in the morning.
Okay. And if there's anything that you need from me after you receive anything that we send out,
Okay.
call me, and I'll be glad to answer the questions. And again, if we need to make a physical presentation, we'll be glad to drive down. Our first visit is on us.
Okay. Okay, well, we appreciate that, and we look forward to meeting with you in the very near future.
Okay.
And I think I speak for everyone on that one.
Look forward to hearing from y'all too.
All right.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good night now.
You too. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Okay.
I think we have alternatives.
Yeah.
You want to open this for discussion?
Okay. So I'm gonna start down on that end, and we'll just go through.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just,
Yes.
Commissioner, Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, if you could just speak into the microphone.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Speak up. Microphone. All right. So I've been through 3 town managers since I've been here. I've been through the process 3 times. And I guess you can call one an assistant town manager, interim town manager. That was Mr. Daltrey. So knowing this process, a $25,000, $30,000 investment for a full service third party independent agency to find us a town manager, I think it's probably one of the best financial investments this town could do. It takes it outside, it takes it out of the hands of everyone within this town and brings in an independent third party to come to this chaos. So my recommendation would be to go with that, with everything that he offered in that full service. Understand we're going to go through it tomorrow, but this process takes time. It takes months to get these people to interview, to do the backgrounds. Like you said, the longer we take with it, the longer it's going to be before we get a town manager in here. But Ashura can speak to it because she has also been through multiple town managers before, and I wish we had this option or would have utilized this option. The past couple times we had town managers.
My question would be whether we really have an option to wait that long as 6 months to try to get somebody in that position, it's gonna,
There's an interim.
I
Me emailing
understand.
tomorrow.
Well, I think for an interim, we have we have people who were town managers here, right? Like Mr. Gainey, and I even believe Marlon was a town manager once, weren't you?
Absolutely not. I don't think that's in the best interest of the town.
But we-
People that are already
Will you
in
let me
position.
finish?
We said we're talking interim.
Let me finish. Let's just assume for a moment that Mr. Gainey became the town manager, leave his position open. He has an assistant that's well qualified, knows the town. We would basically be saving money because his position would be open for X amount of months. So I would think that somebody who's an experienced town manager who could walk in tomorrow, if necessary, and actually start doing something and start going over the ropes with JC before he leaves would be really beneficial.
What you're trying to do is take a director from a dilapidated department that's dilapidated department that's been epically failing for many, many, many years.
Yes, it has.
That's a full-time position where he's at. You're trying to complicate that by adding in.
No, he's
You're wanting to move him over and end up that empty?
no, not at all. He has his assistant director that's very qualified.
Who's the assistant director?
Knows the town quite well, right, Mr. Gay?
Yeah, please come up.
Mr. Postigiano, when does he start, next month?
In 2 weeks.
No. I'm all for going outside this town. The condition and the status of where we're at in this town, no offense, I'm not interested in putting you in the town manager position. I'm not interested in putting Marlon in the town manager position. I think it's in the best interest to go with an outside interim town manager until we can find a permanent town manager for the town.
You
I
don't-
think that's in the best interest of the town.
You don't think that will create a lot of chaos along the way?
Absolutely not. It brings in
It's
an
gonna be
independent-
6 months. I mean,
Well, no, you'll have the member in transit, like, we can, depending on, we'll have the list tomorrow,
email
but,
or whatever.
yeah, we'll have the list tomorrow. We can start scheduling those interviews for the member in transit interim to
but
get
this
them.
person won't be here. He'll be online or.
No,
he'll-
no. Ken are the two people from Port St. Lucie, which are the senior advisors. Those would be people that would, they would be dealing with it outside. They're gonna give us a list tomorrow of a member in transit who's either retired, who's not those three people who are the regional directors for this area, that would come in full-time. We'd make an agreement with them for a time period while we conduct a search and do whatever. They're retired or in between city management jobs. They're not looking for a permanent full-time position. They're just gonna come in here, interim, clean stuff up, get things moving in the right direction. Right now, we are short-staffed. We don't have enough bodies in all of the departments to kind of cover what we need to get done to move the city forward. So it wouldn't be, we could still choose someone during the hiring process for a permanent,
believe-
but this is just for a temporary
I believe
process.
as I'm supposed to be overseeing this department anyway, I actually can be involved in this department if necessary, if there was a shortcoming.
We got a couple of shortcomings. I know that, I don't know if he's spoken to you about bringing in somebody to kind of deal with overseeing the grants right now. We're looking at that because we really don't have enough bodies. Remember, you had Miriam, you had Rob, there was always like 3 to 4 bodies in that department, and we don't have that. And I know with the grants that we have, there was 8 when he came in, where that list now is like 2-3 pages.
But there's 8 old grants that are on their last extension that we're about to lose our tails on and not be able to get more grants because of.
Yeah, we need bodies.
2024, we lose a grant, we're done. We're gonna have a hard time getting federal and state money back into the town of Pembroke Park.
Yeah, we
We're on our last extension.
have that issue. We have our audit, which isn't done. I'm not sure if everybody's aware that the audit is
Yeah,
not
Now, I
done.
actually have 2 more questions on here that I forgot to
I
ask.
know it's-
So I need to bring those
So
back up.
the audit's not done. We need bodies. We really need bodies in these positions. We don't have an assistant city manager technically right now. Remember? Well, you won't remember. He would remember, maybe. I don't know if you remember. We had Natasha and Todd. Before that, you had Tom. who was the assistant city manager.
wow.
So there was still another level, and we don't have that right now. So we're having to kind of, I don't want to burn him out, is basically what I'm saying, because we had the double dipping of positions, and there was too much work for not enough people. And they were basically getting the double salary and trying to do two
Well, there
sets of
would be any
jobs.
double salaries.
Yeah, but
Sure,
we,
let me simplify this
Okay.
real quick. Okay, couple months ago, I told you guys, as a professional law enforcement officer, 2 chiefs is not what to do. It will kill a department. Town manager recommended that we put 2 chiefs in place. You guys voted for 2 chiefs in place. Took 2 weeks to divide a department. 2 weeks, and it destroyed our police department. Within 3 weeks, one of the chiefs resigned, and it hasn't recovered yet. Before I came in here, we had 2 directors, the town clerk and the public works director, with some kind of subtitles. I don't remember what you guys were calling them, but they were splitting the town manager position, and it wasn't working. I know you guys don't know the history, you don't know the pictures, you don't know what we dealt with when we had to clean that up, but I had to clean that up, and that was a mess. Don't want to deal with it again. Having an interim come in from the outside is probably the best thing we can do for this town until we can get a full-time manager. When it comes to searching, we've been through this process. Here it is. When we went for the, let me explain it this way. When we went for the finance director, I attend a lot of different conferences where I meet people. I met an individual who was perfect for our position, looking to move down here. That's all I did. I met her. She applied for the position, and you guys didn't want to go with her, but she was the only one that actually met all the criteria for the position. So you guys voted for someone who didn't meet the qualifications for the position because you guys were convinced this woman was my friend. I had no idea. Now, see, around here for a very long time, friends of friends have been brought in over and over and over again. By going with this full service firm and going outside.
The assistant to the commission? What are
What?
you talking about? I don't know who that is.
No, he's referring to a finance
The
director
finance
candidate.
director. You guys said that the woman that applied was my friend. I met her at a conference, at a League of Cities conference.
Your friend, I didn't even know you knew him.
You actually stated it on the dais that she was my friend.
I did?
You did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can pull it up if you really want to go back and look for it. It's not important.
Can we just-
But long story short, this keeps it out of the hands of anyone here in the town and favoritism and anyone bringing in anyone that, plays party favorites, so to speak.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking not to pay favorites with anyone, but I was trying to just make the point that we would save like $100,000 by having somebody move into that position that's here, and that vacant position the funds would be
So
available.
you have him in a critical role in the town. He's got an engineering degree
Yes,
in
he
that
does.
position.
And he could probably do the town manager stuff and still make sure that questions are answered for his.
She currently has criminal
assistant.
charges pending.
Who?
I did my interview already. So
Who?
the town clerk. So therefore,
I
we're
didn't-
in this
I didn't say
position.
anything about the town clerk.
Okay, hold on.
Talking about
Okay, so
his assistant.
I'm telling you, you brought up 2 individuals. There's 2 individuals that I do not want in that position. He's got a critical role he needs to maintain as an engineer and as a public works director and doing that position that he's already in. Moving him out, I think, is detrimental to the town
Not talking
because
about
we
moving him
finally have someone in. If you're moving him into the interim position, you're moving him out of the position he's in.
He could still be in an advisory capacity where he could actually give good advice to his second in command.
So now you're trying to stack jobs on top of people. Listen, I do 3 positions at my regular job right now, and it's hard. It's hard because they're short, everywhere short, and we're doing multiple jobs. It's too much on people, okay? I want to do the one job I'm paid for, and that's it. I'm sure he wants to do the one job he's paid for, and that's it. And there's no reason to be stacking positions. Have access to bring in an interim to fill the position that's outside and then work on fulfilling this position with a third-party independent firm, so it
Well, there
doesn't
was
have
a
any
su-
influence.
Well, there was a
on behalf of the
suggestion
commission.
for all of the commission, and I just wanted them to hear my point of view, so I guess.
Well,
Okay.
Eileen, what's your take on this? Do you think you can do it? Yeah. And how do you imagine it would work? I mean, how are you going to do it?
Yeah, presently, right now, as expressed, we are playing catch up.
Yeah,
The infrastructure is in,
shambles.
Disarray.
it's been ignored, and we are catching up.
Yeah.
And the catch up that we are doing is actually compliance issues, as I've expressed. And to your comment, Commissioner Jacobs, I tried to talk to you twice, and I didn't get a chance. Indirectly, if I didn't come out publicly and said hello, I'll call you again. And I called from my office. Maybe I'll tell you the number that I have, and I'll express it to you again. Coming back to the point, yes, the town needs a lot of compliance issues dealing from the grants, even the building department, certain issues with some of the water and sewer department, and also the critical one, which is stormwater. We have an area in stormwater right now that we're addressing, the lake fill, which is going to be a critical issue coming up. Proper engineering analysis, proper direction in which way the town moves in approving that project. If it's approved, it's going to be a lot of technical stuff that we are going to be going through. Dealing with the consultants is going to be critical in that aspect of it. Yes, I've been in the role of a city manager already, and doing the both jobs, as you mentioned, is going to be key, but I think I can handle it on an interim basis until you get somebody to step in. For sure, I am not standing here to tell you I'm going to take the position or anything like that. The town is in need right now, and I know for a fact that when it comes to grants and applying for grants and getting things moving, if you don't have an interim or a manager or somebody in there to make decisions, you're going to everything will be just falling through a hole, and we're going to be back into non-compliance issues again and again. And I don't want to get to that point. But in order for things to move and for things to go through this transitionary period, as we call it, until the town gets a manager, I'm willing to help and step up to get it done. We have an audit. We have several issues in compliance. We have the building department. We have the police department that we talked about. So there's several needs right now that the town has, and they're all critical. I was brought in to deal with the infrastructure, which so far I've communicated everything with this commission. Okay, and I will schedule a meeting with you to go through everything that I've done when it comes to the infrastructure.
There are 3 things you need to know about me. I have 3 rules when you work for me. Show up for work, do the job that you're hired to do, and don't lie. Integrity. I've not received one phone call from you, and I've never received a returned email that I've sent to you. So that right there is already, we're on a bad foot. Now, you know I didn't vote for you, because unlike everyone else around here, I do my due diligence when I go to hire someone. I actually call references. I call around, and I did call around North Miami. And you're not the person I would have put in that position. The thing is, you know how bad this is. So I ask you, you've seen everything. Was everything done ethically and legally here in the town? Would you put your engineering degree on it that this was all done, or your license, that everything was done properly?
When you say ethically, I don't understand the question.
Legally. Was everything done legally and ethically? Everything done right for what we have? Because we were 22 years non-compliance on our stormwater plan, 22 years compliance on our sewer plan, 30 years non-compliance on our park. Well, these are non-compliance that just continue and continue, like decades. You've seen our lift stations. You know the condition. Now, Rob, of everything that he did, his presentation on our lift stations was overwhelming. It showed how bad the lift stations and preventive maintenance hasn't done. So our sewer system in this town is epically failing. It's repair after repair, where it's costing us a small fortune. It's costing us everything to keep this town afloat at the moment. But these things need fixed. We're flooding everywhere. We got flooding. When Assure was here previously, they spent, what, 20 million? What did you spend on that flooding area? You guys spent a lot of millions of dollars fixing the flooding in the town. So,
Well, the road development, we spent the 2.5 revamping each of the lift stations in the city. That was from 2010 to 2000, I think it's 2007 to 2010 or 2005.
drainage on the frontage, everything to get
All
the
those,
stormwater out. The stormwater, they spent millions on fixing. So, but no maintenance, no preventive maintenance is continued in this town. So that's where my problem is. You got a position, you need to fulfill your position and do that position. That's what you were hired for. That's the position you were put in. I don't feel we need to be taking anyone and moving them around. I feel we need to go outside and have outside influence from this town. It's the only way where this place is going to recover.
Does that answer, or do you have any more questions, Bill, Eric? Because I know you were kind of answering his question, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
if there was-
I
outside.
kind of agree with Jacobs that it's hard to see how you can do 2 jobs or 3 jobs actually. But who do you have in mind as your support? I mean, I know you can delegate,
Correct.
but who can you delegate to?
Go ahead, sorry. I know you have your
I have
assistant
an
coming in.
assistant or a deputy, assistant public works director who I've hired. I've worked with him in the past, and I know his credentials and I know what he can deliver. What we need in this town is somebody who can respond. We've been spending a lot of money on Band-Aids. We've been spending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. I've taken, two of the commissioners to see some of the main breaks that I've been on, sometimes on a Saturday night. I've been here up to 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, looking at some of these. So, and I know he's the type of person who will come in and actually get the job done. Rather than paying a consultant or paying a outside contractor, we can get some of those things accomplished in-house to save the town thousands of dollars. Because that's the type of work he does. And when it comes to compliance, we've been there with me through some of this stuff, so we understand what needs that the town has when it comes to compliance. CDBG grants, HMGP grants, FDEP grants. I've gone through at least 9 million in FDEP grants over the last 10 years when I was there, dealing with lining, sanitary systems, that sort of system. So he's coming in with that type of experience.
The training project over in that northeast quarter, how close are we to, shovel ready?
The town hired a Kimley Horn to do the stormwater master plan. And that's the point I was going to bring up to Commissioner Jacobs. He signed a contract with Kimley Horn, I believe in March of last year. And in that contract, he clearly states Park Road, Park Lane, clearly highlighted.
Carolina.
Carolina Street. I have here, this is a contract that was signed. And so coming back to the point of whether there's a need, and this need has not been there just last year. It has not been there for the last 2 years. It's been there, the town did a master plan in 2001. The same issues appeared in that time. I have a resolution that was adopted in 1993 stating that Carolina has a direct outfall into that Trinity Lake. So since 1993, previous town commissions have been dealing with this issue, and it's just been, the can has been kicked down the road. Lack of maintenance, getting the pump stations up and running, and there's a lot of other limitations, as I said. Limitations from regulatory agencies where the amount of stormwater that can be pumped is limited to 40 CFS. The permit that the town has is up to 40 CFS. You cannot pump more than that. Whether you put more pumps out there, what we can do is to mitigate some of the flooding issues. So we all understand what are some of the issues out there when it comes to the flooding. So the contract to do your stormwater master plan is here. I have several meetings scheduled, and I'm going to schedule those individually for each one of you to go through your concerns with the consultant. Coming back to the point, we also have this sanitary sewer master plan. That is actually on the way. We are about 80% done, and the model's there. So we are identifying all the issues. So it's now all the projects that are going to be coming out from those master plans that we have.
I signed that contract at the same time, both of them.
Right. One is 80% done, one is only 20% done. I'm trying to get things moving.
Okay.
And they are moving.
And-
Since I got here, these contracts were my #1 priority, and that's the direction the manager gave me.
And two of these commissioners, I don't know if you guys are aware, you got a brownfield, a toxic waste dump just north of both of you. You live south of Carolina, and that flows right into your park.
I just gave you a copy of the EPA
What do you give me?
The EPA for the.
Oh, the EPA
Superfund
report? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've been on it since I got here.
Yeah,
That's a brownfield that sits north of your guys' communities, and that water flows right into your communities. That stormwater flows down John P. Line, it flows down Carolina, it dumps right into those lakes, right into your communities, flows right down your street. So that's one thing you guys need to be clearly aware of. I wouldn't even eat a vegetable out of there.
I think our whole park drains into his.
You're right, actually.
I know.
It does, because it sits 2 feet higher.
Yeah.
I lived here 18 years and I've been flooded constantly.
Yeah, don't eat the green tomatoes, especially the neon ones.
Coming back to that discussion, yes, there's a brownfield site. That meeting is scheduled for this Friday, after almost 6 months, and the manager did bring me up to speed on that. The meeting for mitigating that brownfield area is scheduled for this Friday to see what EPA has and what the contractor is telling us that they are recommending.
Okay.
Now, that's going to be a big issue for the town to deal with. Reason is, presently, we have what is called exfiltration trenches along that corridor, John P. Lyons, and that whole area along Carolina, prior to getting into Trinity Lake. So what is going to happen, if that area is a brownfield or designated as a brownfield, they can no longer have any infiltration, which is going to affect the groundwater conditions. So you're going to have some sort of positive, your drainage is going to be affected. And we're going to have to make decisions like that coming up that I will have to bring before this council. And these are some of the critical things. And that's why I'm saying some of these issues, I'm already aware of it. I understand what is happening. I've dealt with.
I think that was already designated as a Superfund site, as a brownfield
It's been for many years.
for like 20
Onsite.
plus
Yeah,
years.
it's-
Now we're talking, what are the remedial action plan?
I've been on that since I got here too.
Moving
So-
forward, what can be done and what, So these are some of the critical issues. So even bringing in a town manager to bring them up to speed on this, to make some of these decisions is gonna be critical.
Yeah.
That's why we need to get on this
Yeah.
right away.
So that's what we're saying is basically like, we know you're doing, an amazing job. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we need bodies in here to handle it because you have
Yeah, you have a lot of years of
inherited a big
big
issue.
problem.
And we have other issues with police department, grants management, lawsuits. I mean, it's a lot to put on one person, which is why we need to bring in additional bodies at this time to kind of give people different things. Because you're about to apply for an $8 million grant to redo the entire lift stations for the entire city. That's a lot of work. You have the 3.5 from the MPO for the C-SLIP. You have
Sure, can we
HMPG. So
Move this along for the manager. I'm sorry.
I know, but I wanna make
discuss
sure we're
Public
all-
Works tonight.
'cause-
I get it. I want to
Yeah.
have Public Works at a meeting. I got things I got to go do tonight. So, no offense. I just want to move this
Yeah.
along. I do have 2 questions still on conditions on the thing, even though we voted on. I just want to update on that audit because every single month I was asking about it. Somehow now our audit isn't.
No, it's not done.
It's not done yet.
It's not done. It's not done.
God damn it.
Roy indicated that he's finalizing all the paperwork and getting it to the auditors. By
When's the anticipated date on that?
next week, he'll have it done.
When's it going to be submitted?
It'll
Next week.
Well, he's going to submit it to the auditors, so the auditors can do what they need to by next week. They're waiting for trial balances and some other
When's
information.
the auditor's anticipated date?
Once he gets it, I believe they said it'll be like 30 days to turn it
2
around.
months. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to 3 weeks to confirm and verify all the information, and then 1 month to actually get it done. And so we're looking at 2 months,
We get a
basically.
nasty letter again?
We've already been working on that. So that's some of the things that.
So we did get one?
No. So what we did was we're being proactive on it. So we've already contacted JLAC and the Auditor General. They're both aware that the audit is going to be late. If it cannot be done by October 1st, then we're going to have to do weekly updates to the Auditor General in order to basically not be on the naughty list. Because as you know, the other commissioners might not know, with the audit not being done, it affects our budget for the following year. And that's our revenue share, which is the huge chunk of our.
Several $1 million.
Yeah, sir.
Hodgkins, this is why I was on this every single month, making sure this audit was submitted on time. Since March, I haven't been responsible for anything.
I
So
think it's been submitted on time ever.
It was.
it fell behind when we changed finance directors. and then we got it back up to speed, and then here we are again. So you had to do the signature on it last time because I was in Dallas, but
think
it
there
got
was-
submitted.
Yeah, there was a reason. It did get submitted, yes.
It did get submitted, but the two item, okay, that was item number one. The other one is I emailed the town manager and HR director about the investigation in the former building official. Have yet to get a response. On the August 23rd workshop, I would like a presentation, including the total investigatory cost of what we spent on attorneys for this investigation and the conclusion at the next workshop before you leave. So from per the attorneys, apparently it's done. So I read it. I don't know if you guys received a copy of it, but it's 17 pages long. You can take the time to read through it. But I'd like a presentation at the next workshop for that.
That's the, I'd have to speak to the legalities of that, but
Yeah, I would only offer this, Commissioner, respectfully. The investigation is undoubtedly done. We know the final report has been published by the special counsel investigator. There are two ancillary related EEOC complaints that relate specifically to the facts and circumstances associated with the nature of the investigation. It's a separate investigative process, a separate complaint-driven process. They are independent of each other, but they both relate to the same issues. So I would just caution the commission very carefully about engaging in a public discussion while those EEOC complaints are currently pending.
All right, with that said, then how about you reach out to the JC, reach out to those entities, find out where we're at on the investigation, when it's anticipated, the completion of it, and conclusion where we can have a presentation for the commission. But I would also, the next meeting, like to know the actual financial cost.
I can send that to you tomorrow. I can email that to you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Can
and
you
for the
email it to all
record,
the
the
commissioners?
Labor Counsel, Chris Stearns, is representing the town in the EEOC matters. We can check in with him on the status as well.
Okay. Please send that to all the commissioners. That's all I have on that.
Okay. Okay, so I am gonna ask that when everyone gets the list tomorrow, if there is a consensus to have a special meeting to interview and hire
Do you,
possibly.
you said this is a two-part. Do you want a motion to go forward with this for an outside firm, or do you want to wait on that?
Where are you guys at? I'm okay with entertaining a motion.
I know the cost of what it takes to do it and how much it is. I don't know that the other two commissioners are. It's extremely expensive, takes a long time. To have someone else, third party outside, do it, recommend it.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with Commissioner Jacobs that we need an outside firm.
What was it, 30,000?
25 to 30
5 to
is
35.
Are we okay to entertain
Yeah.
a motion and move that forward today?
That would be direction to, yeah, correct. And I would just suggest that your direction be to the town manager to solicit quotes from a number of executive recruiting firms that are out there. I can speak
Well, I think
from,
the senior advisors, they'll give us the list of firms that will,
Yeah, and the actual RFP that to put out.
yeah.
correct.
Okay, so please correct me if I say this wrong. I'd like to make a motion for the town manager to go forward with the FCCMA.
And,
FCM.
I don't think that was what it was called.
Is that what it is?
FCM.
Senior advisor, FCCMA.
FCCMA.
FCCMA, for the full service town manager.
Full service firm for the
For
recruitment.
service form for the town manager, not to exceed 35,000.
Yes, I think so.
Was
my notes.
that a second?
That's a second.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a second or if you were just.
I didn't hear what you said,
referencing
so.
your-
No, 35,000, not to exceed 35,000. A second.
I'm going to just have discussion. While we are directing the city manager to do that, I know that his time here is limited to, I think, August 18th is full-time versus, are you using your vacation?
I
time?
was gonna be taking
Okay,
vacation.
versus, so I think that more so we're having the motion is out there on the floor that we are directing to move forward, going with the full service firm. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to kind of pick up the slack on this one with working with Ken Parker to get the list and everything else, because I don't know.
Whatever we can do to help, we're certainly happy to try, Mayor.
Okay, so that's why I just wanted to just put that discussion and clarify, because I know that he won't be here, and I know that the senior advisors do help with that process of finding the full-service firms.
Yeah, and if I could, just very quickly, I've recently gone through this process in another city where I serve as city attorney. I think the price quoted by Mr. Parker is correct. I can tell you specifically, Cooper City went through this. They engaged a recruiting firm in January of this year, and they had a new city manager start June 1st. 6 months. So in fact, that was correct, and I think the cost there was roughly $30,000.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna do just roll call.
Motion made by Commissioner Jacobs, seconded by Vice Mayor Morissette. Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then everybody will have the list tomorrow. Please let us know your availability to move that forward for the interim.
I
Okay.
gotta text my wife real quick.
Okay. You guys are all
That's a
okay
deal.
with that? So, because I would like to get that, I would like to see if we can have an interim in here before he leaves on the 18th so that we can transition.
Super
First.
beneficial.
Huh?
September
No.
1st.
The
If we
18th
have
is
to
his
call a
last
special-
official full day, but the first is his, because of the vacation time and
Okay.
all that stuff.
Okay.
So
We may have to call a special meeting.
we are going to be calling a special meeting. Are you fine with a special meeting to hire a member in transit?
It's not my position.
Mayor, if you'd like, what we could do is, once you get those names, immediately set up one-on-one interviews for each of you, and then at the special meeting, you guys make a decision.
Yeah.
We'll do that quickly.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. That's about it. Right? We're good?
Good.
Okay. So we're finished with 8.1. Attorney comments?
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your assistance in
Happy to
getting
help.
with Ken Parker and dealing with that.
No problem.
Town manager, do you have any comments?
I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to serve as your town manager. It's been a pleasure at times, and it's been difficult at times, but it's been rewarding nonetheless. And I just want to thank you all, honestly, for the opportunity.
And we do thank you for your time and service to our community.
Yeah, and thank you for your offer to help us with outstanding issues.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Jacobs, commissioner comments?
Yep. Hold on.
Okay. You want me to start on this then?
No, I'm ready. Just give me a second. I just got to tell my wife I got to pick up my son. Comments. Police chief, several police officer positions, town planner, procurement, BTR, building department manager, building official, floodplain manager, assistant public services director, and several miscellaneous positions. Town staff is currently being overworked and underpaid. The town needs to fill these positions with well-qualified personnel and stop scraping the bottom of the barrel for and underqualified personnel. We need to staff these with proper people instead of just trying to fill bodies with a seat. These positions have been vacant for a while and need to be filled as soon as possible. You have 2 people in the building department doing the work of 4 or even 5. So that's just one example. But we need to fill the positions within the town. Y'all have been continued to be fed lies prior to you coming here and up to the current date. If you haven't figured it out yet, you're not in the right position here. I've been here for the commission, for the city, and that's all I'm here for. I have no reason to lie to you all. My integrity is absolutely everything. I'm here to take out the garbage and clean up my town. That's what I've been doing since I got here. I've been doing a great job until this new administration started. Now we're seeing major struggles within the town. Our police department is having major problems with staffing, personnel, internal issues, along with every other department within this town. So I think change in executive leadership is necessary and fixing what we have going on here. So what else here? That's it. We just need to get well-qualified personnel in these positions and just not trying to fill a seat anymore. That's all I have.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. I am gonna, again, I want to thank JC for his, 3 years?
3 years.
3 years of service to this community. We appreciate you trying to take up the challenge and dealing with the issues that we have. And we wish you all of the best success in the future,
Thank you.
wherever you land. With that being said, I think I'll say, I think I'll save what I have left for another meeting. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You said assistant, what were the positions? I need to write them down, if you don't mind.